All right, let's dive into a chapter from Genesis that honestly plays out like a high-stakes family drama. It's got everything: a promise that's been decades in the making, a family that gets torn apart by jealousy, and a fight for survival in the middle of nowhere that'll have you on the edge of your seat.
100. Think about that number for a second. That's how old Abraham was when his son was finally born. I mean, this was a promise he'd been waiting on for decades. So when it finally happened, it felt like nothing short of a miracle. So, our story kicks off with this moment of just pure, unfiltered joy. After a whole lifetime of waiting, Sarah, who's 90 years old herself, gives birth to Isaac. And just like that, the divine promise that basically defined their entire lives is fulfilled. And you can just feel the awe in Sarah's own words here. This isn't just a little chuckle. This is the kind of deep belly laugh that comes from witnessing the impossible. Which is just perfect, right? Because his name, Isaac, literally means he laughs. So they throw this huge party, a great feast when Isaac is weaned. This is supposed to be the high point, the moment that secures the family's future. But, and this is where things get really complicated, this incredible, joyous occasion is the exact thing that triggers a family conflict so bitter, it changes everything. So right in the middle of this party, the mood just completely shifts. Sarah's joy turns into rage because she sees Ishmael, Hagar's son, mocking Isaac. Now, what mocking means here is a little vague, but for Sarah, it was a direct threat to her son's future. It was a line crossed. And this gets right to the heart of the problem. You've got two sons under one roof: Ishmael, the firstborn, son of the handmaid, and Isaac, the child of promise, son of the free woman. And in Sarah's mind, there is absolutely no room for two heirs. So terrified for her son's inheritance, Sarah lays down this brutal ultimatum: get rid of them. It's a total severing of ties, and you can imagine how this hits Abraham. It's devastating. I mean, Ishmael is his son too. The whole family is at a breaking point. And this is where God steps in. The instructions to Abraham are kind of twofold. First, don't be grieved, and listen to your wife. It confirms that yes, the main line will go through Isaac, but then there's this crucial second part. A promise is made for Ishmael too. He's not going to be abandoned. He will also be the father of a great nation. So Abraham does it. He actually goes through with it. The very next morning, he sends Hagar and Ishmael away. And just think about what he gives them: a little bread and a single bottle of water. That's it. And he sends them out into the brutal, unforgiving wilderness of Beersheba. And, of course, the water runs out. It happens terrifyingly fast. They're lost, they're alone, and they are facing certain death from thirst out there under the blazing sun. This part is just heartbreaking. Hagar literally can't bear to watch her son die, so she places him under a bush, and she walks away so she won't have to see it and just weeps. It's rock bottom, absolute despair. But then, just when all hope is gone, a rescue. An angel calls out from heaven, telling her not to be afraid, and repeating that promise about Ishmael's future. And then, the miracle. God opens her eyes, and she sees a well, water. In an instant, they're pulled back from the brink of death. Their future is secure.
Okay, so while all that's happening out in the wilderness, the story cuts back to Abraham. And it's a completely different scene. We're shifting from divine rescue to some very human, down-to-earth politics.
So a local king, Abimelech, he's no fool. He's been watching Abraham, and he can see that the man is clearly blessed and becoming pretty powerful. So he shows up with his army commander, and he wants to make a deal, a formal treaty, a covenant, to guarantee peace between them. Now, this is really interesting. There's a dispute over a well, which in the desert is everything. Abimelech's men had taken one of Abraham's. But instead of fighting, they get diplomatic. Abraham gives the king 7 lambs as public proof, like a living receipt that he dug the well. They both swear an oath, and just like that, a conflict becomes a treaty.
And so you can see how that incredibly painful family split at the beginning actually created 2 separate, successful paths. Out in the wilderness, Ishmael thrives and becomes a skilled archer, a master of his environment. And back in the settled lands, Abraham establishes himself as a respected leader, a statesman making treaties with kings. So we go from the sound of a baby's laughter all the way to the solemn words of a political oath. It really makes you think, doesn't it? How this story shows that sometimes new beginnings and even the start of new nations are forged not just in moments of joy, but right in the heart of a crisis.